We're back at it again with the emeralds. I read your guys' comments, so I'm gonna do my best in responding and covering them here. I'll also throw in a few more theories so we can explain away some of these issues. A few comments mentioned Knuckles being able to glide due to his hair. This is true, although it's kind of all over the place. Now, apparently he's able to bend the wind. Maybe both are true? It's been stated by Sega a few times, though I think at some point they changed it to airbending. While either of these are fine explanations, I still think it could be due to the Master Emerald. I've covered this in another video, but Sonic's birthplace was Christmas Island. In reality, Christmas Island was a place used for radioactive testing. I theorized that this could explain Sonic's blue fur and abilities, being from the radioactive tests that the Doctor performed on the emeralds. Either that, or simply being exposed to them in general, as the Chaos Emeralds mostly seem to be located on the islands at this time. It would explain Tails' two tails as well, and if Knuckles is constantly exposed to the Master Emerald being its only guardian, then the strange attribute of being able to use his hair to bend the wind doesn't sound so strange anymore. Don't forget that the emeralds seem to have an effect on the environment as well, like we discussed in the last video with the islands in Superstars and Angel Island as some examples. So it's pretty clear that being exposed to the cosmic jewels has some sort of effect on you. This comment states, actually, Tails implies during a Tails tube that Knuckles can properly turn super. When asked about it, Knuckles straight up says that it's not his place to use the Master Emerald's power for himself. It's very likely Knuckles just chooses not to turn super for his own personal reasons. I find that very interesting. It could explain why both his super and hyper forms look so similar. It's certainly a possibility. A few comments also mentioned the fact that the Twitter takeovers aren't canon, though as of right now I haven't seen anything confirming the fact that they aren't canon. I found an article that speaks of them not being canon as said by some of the staff members and even the lore team, but I can't find the statement itself. This person mentioned that it seems to be a half and half, which would seem to be correct. The only thing I could find was this on the Sonic Wiki. So, while the takeovers themselves aren't canon, some of the more lore-ridden answers they give are. So for example, if Sonic and his friends are at a table talking about this legendary spoon, them crowded around the table never happened, but the spoon still exists. Where's the source that Mechasonic was intended to go gold by Eggman's design? Mechasonic turning gold from the Emerald's power isn't just because of the Emeralds, it's because Eggman specifically designed him to do so. Since Mechasonic is a machine, Eggman must have programmed or engineered him to channel the Emerald's energy, in a way that mimics Sonic's transformation. It's not like the Emeralds can randomly make a regular object like a toaster turn gold. It's a deliberate feature built into Mechasonic to emulate Sonic's abilities. While there's no explicit statement in the games or official material that Eggman designed Mechasonic specifically to turn gold, it's a logical assumption based on context. Eggman's goal is to rival Sonic, so it makes sense that he would design Mechasonic to emulate Sonic's super transformation. Since other characters don't turn gold simply by using the emeralds, it implies this feature is unique to Mechasonic and intentionally engineered. It's not directly confirmed, but it fits Eggman's style and Mecha's purpose. This comment brings up a good point that Hypersonic must be canon due to the Doomsday Zone events being canon. However, Sega's explanation of the Super Emeralds being in a different dimension make no sense whatsoever, like the commenter points out. They're just a powered up Chaos Emeralds. I'll usually do my best to explain away a dev's choices and try to describe how it's feasible in universe. However, this is one time where I legitimately feel as though Sega themselves is wrong. They have to be. The Emeralds can't be in two places at once, they're either here or there, and they're clearly still in Sonic's dimension. They say that Tails and Knuckles' super forms aren't canon, though they should be. Another commenter brings up a good point that while those specific instances of transformation aren't canon, which they aren't because Sonic is the canon protagonist throughout these games, this would be the result if they did go super, a sort of what-if scenario. I agree, this would make the most sense. They ask if Gerald came across the Master Emerald, which yes he did. He came across the shrine itself along with the murals. However, my commentary on the emeralds by using Gerald as an example was about being able to use and harness their power, and having the body for it. They go on to mention, while it is noteworthy movie Eggman achieved a super form, the emeralds do work differently between continuities. The game ones require you to have rings just to go super. Yes, that is not just a gameplay mechanic. Very true. Though I'd say that the neutral equilibrium state that the Master Emerald could represent, and what it entails, could still be true. Both comments mention Trip and her super form being a super form versus a dragon form. Besides it canonically being known as a super form, she literally harnesses the power of the emeralds, so I'd believe it to be a super form at least in some degree. Like they say, Trip also breaks the argument of only male hedgehogs, like stated. Can I just say very well thought out comments, and I love reading through your guys' discussions. I like to look at my theory videos as the beginning of a discussion, rather than a be-all, end-all concrete fact. So I really appreciate you guys going all out in the comments and having discussions like this. It's nice to see. I've always sort of had the headcanon that the Chaos Emeralds came to be through some sort of alien technological breakthrough. It always felt so odd to me that Tails could make a fake Chaos Emerald and make it so close to the original it could still be used for chaos control. A very interesting headcanon, and one I've shared for quite some time. I have a theory video I'm working on for this, but I believe that the Chaos Emeralds could be from some sort of cosmic gods, or they were made through alien technology. This comment says something similar. When it comes to the Chaos Emerald and other similarly powerful gems, ever since Frontiers and the End, my theory has been this: the emeralds are a byproduct of creation itself. They are the chaos, the madness, the energy, the leftover embers that created everything. Gems of incredible power and mystery, due to the fact that there was no one or anything around for the Big Bang that made them. They are travelers of the universe, jumping from world to world, possibly being in the hands of countless other races, possibly before the ancients and before coming in contact with Earth. This likely seems the case. Your theory doesn't hold up. Oh well, boys, you heard the man. Pack it up, we're going home. I still wonder if the Wisp's Hyper Gohan energy is actually stronger than the Chaos Emeralds. Unused dialogue in Colors downright says it is, but it's unused dialogue at the end of the day. Also, is it possible for Hyper Gohan energy and Chaos energy to be combined and grant someone a form even higher than Super Hyper? Definitely an interesting idea, and one I'd like to see explored. It reminds me of the whole Miracle Sonic mod for Sonic CD. I love this idea. Maybe something like a full color Sonic or Cosmic Sonic, since he'd be fusing with alien energy. Very cool concept. This commenter states that it's likely the other characters either can't have a super form like the Hedgehogs, or at least a super form in the way they do. If Sega really is taking that direction, while I'm not a fan of it personally, it's certainly possible, though I do hope they go into why that is. As for now, like my theory with the Ancients, we can only speculate. Now let's talk about my Emerald Radiation theory. A few commenters brought up how the Japanese version of Sonic Adventure doesn't bring up the whole positive and negative energy from the emeralds thing. However, we have some signs in the series to this being the case, besides the English translation. Like I responded to this commenter about the translation in Essay 1, and how the recharge for the emeralds work in Unleashed, in the Japanese version, Tails states,
カオスはエメラルドのパワーを光と悲しみで引き出した。でもソニックなら本当の使い方を知ってるよね?
So this doesn't fully deconfirm the English translation depending on interpretation. If we follow the idea of the emeralds being partially radioactive in nature, then by taking only the negative energy, or negative ions, chaos disrupts the balance of positive and negative energy. The emeralds are now left with an overwhelming positive charge, but without the complementary negative charge, the system becomes unstable. In physics and chemistry, when a charged system loses one component of its balance, it can result in a form of energy shutdown, because the remaining energy is no longer usable in its unbalanced state. I believe the characters could act as catalysts that stabilize the emeralds, allowing them to recharge and regain their original power. The emeralds have often been shown to respond to the emotional resonance of those connected to them, such as Sonic's courage or the team's unity. In scientific terms, this could be likened to the characters providing a charge transfer, donating energy, emotional or physical, to fill the gap left by the missing negative energy. This recharges the emeralds, much like jump-starting a depleted battery. In Unleashed, the Chaos Emeralds regain their power by absorbing the Earth's life energy through the Gaia Temples. The temples can act as natural recharging stations. It's like plugging a battery into a charger. The temples refuel the emeralds using the planet's energy. If the Chaos Emeralds are radioactive and ionically charged, their power might be depleted when their ionic balance is disrupted, like when Eggman used their energy to awaken Dark Gaia. The Gaia Temples could act as natural ionizers, reintroducing the necessary positive and negative ionic energy to restore the emerald's balance and power. The Gaia Temples are geographically linked to the planet's life force. The prolonged focused exposure allows the emeralds to absorb and realign their ionic charges, bringing them back to their full potential. Just as Sonic restores balance to the fractured planet by returning the continents to their rightful places, he also restores balance to the emeralds by using the Earth's life force. They go on to say, if they had positive or negative energy in them, then when the Master Emerald neutralized them in Sonic Adventure 2, they wouldn't be able to immediately go super. The Master Emerald doesn't seem to destroy the Chaos Emerald's energy, but rather suppress or neutralize their active state. In my theory, if the Chaos Emeralds are tied to positive and negative ionic energy like I've been mentioning, the Master Emerald's neutralization effect might temporarily ground both charges, making the emeralds inactive without actually draining their power. Once the Master Emerald's influence is removed, the Chaos Emeralds can return to their balanced state and be used again. This explains why they can immediately go super afterward. Their energy wasn't depleted, just stabilized or dormant for a moment. Of course, this is all just conjecture, as we don't have a definitive statement from Sega about the exact makeup of the Chaos Emeralds. It's just my way of attempting to explain it. So let me make sure I got this right. So the emeralds probably need to be radioactive, at least in some sense, given Sonic's origin story and what they referenced for it. Also in how they function and the effects it has on people. Though it's possible they're not radioactive and just fully spiritual, or emotional. However, I personally don't subscribe to that theory just because the Japanese translation doesn't necessarily deconfirm it, and it would go a long way for explaining why the emeralds have an effect on the environment and the people that use them or are around them. So being radioactive and spiritual probably checks out at least to a degree. Keep in mind that since they're alien jewels, they don't need to follow the same exact logic as regular radiation. They don't really seem to give off negative effects on people, and mostly positive if anything. Knuckles, for example, and his people seem to have the ability of foresight from the emerald's spiritual end, possibly, and the power of gliding from the radioactive side, if that's true. This form isn't a super form. It's given to the others by Sonic's transformation since he's hogging the emerald energy for this fight. Also, Sonic can go super because of his nature, his DNA, and his history of constantly fighting Eggman and defending the world. Shadow can go super because he was literally made with the emeralds in mind, and Silver due to his constant battles with Iblis. Trip can go super due to her ancestors and her will to fight and protect. These guys can go super too, and while their hyper forms are canon, they technically haven't been used, only in what-if scenarios. Same with Amy's super form. Blaze's super form is more due to her sealing Iblis within herself, hence the fire. But it's also an alternate universe super form. It has to be. She literally needs the emeralds for that to happen. Hypersonic and the Super Emeralds are canon, they just haven't been used anymore because for no reason. And the emeralds themselves are either alien-made or come from cosmic gods. We have no idea yet. Am I forgetting anything? Possibly. Sega, please just explain your super form some more. Maybe expand on the emeralds a bit more as well? Anyway, let me know what you think of my conclusion. Whether you agree or disagree, let me know what you think in the comments down below. And thank you to anyone who has followed me on this Chaos Emerald journey. Take care, everyone.